Hey guys, Zack here, and this is my review of the Cuphead show. Okay, so this episode is just kind of fun and interesting in that it's literally just about Cuphead and Mugman trying to take care of a baby that doesn't want to be taken care of. So yeah, the episode opens up with Elder Kettle grabbing his hat from the coat rack, and he proceeds to leave while the Cuphead and Mugman are in the middle of a game of marbles. He actually winds up kicking the marbles as they're playing, and as he leaves, he tells them that he's going for his mustache waxing, which is supposed to be kind of like an actual waxing, like how you would wax a car or a piece of furniture. In this case, he's literally going to get his mustache waxed because, well, he's a kettle. But in case before he leaves, he gives Cuphead and Mugman two very explicit instructions. One is that they're not supposed to fight, and the other is that they need to make absolutely sure that they don't break his precious radio. Pointing out that the radio is actually his most prized possession, and he doesn't really want to see anything bad happen to it. But in any case, with those two rules in place, he then proceeds to leave. And of course, the second he closes the door, Cuphead and Mugman start fighting. And simply because they can, as they later point out, they literally just fight because they can. And they also make very clear that their fighting doesn't accidentally break the radio. But in any case, as they're just kind of fighting for the sake of fighting, they actually hear a knock at the door, and believing it's Elder Kettle, they immediately put on a goody two shoes act and claim that they were not fighting, and then wonder if Elder Kettle if it is indeed Elder Kettle. But then they actually look down and see a baby, which is revealed to be the titular baby bottle. It's literally designed to look like a baby bottle, but in case, the only real thing that they actually note is a little thing that says, a little note that says, "Please take care of baby," and that is all. And that is the whole only thing that they are given. Not a name, not anything else. Just please take care of baby. So Mugman, of course, is very happy about the fact that he gets to take care of a baby and immediately brings it into the house with Cuphead pointing out that Mugman doesn't know the first thing about taking care of a baby, and neither does he. But Mugman primarily points out that all they really need to do is shower it with love, and then proceeds to start introducing itself to the baby, and tells it that its name is Mugman, and asks the baby if it can say that, and the baby then just proceeds to call him Mama, which starts to make him very happy, and he starts coddling the baby. But whereas Cuphead reasonably concludes that since that Mugman is the mom, that means that he has to be the dad, and asks if the baby will say Papa, but the baby immediately just spits in his face and just starts fussing. And it's to this point where Cuphead wonders what exactly is going on, and Mugman tells him that he needs to burp it, but when that doesn't work, Cuphead suggests that they change his diaper, but neither of them want to do it, so he decides to hand it off to Mugman and see if he has a better shot at burping it, and of course it works perfectly. Cuphead is very relieved that the baby is happy again. But when he goes to poop its nose, and this is in the trailer for the actual show, so you probably have seen this already. But when he goes to poop the baby's nose, the baby bites him, and he lets out a howling scream of pain as he runs around in circles, holding out his finger, trying to cope with the pain, and to pointing out that the baby bit him, and that Mugman then proceeds to point out that it didn't mean it, and that it's just casual baby things, but and also points out that the baby would never do something so terrible. But Cuphead points out that's a very malicious baby, and that they need to be very careful of it. But Mugman points out that that's preposterous, and says that they just need to spend some time together. And with that, he puts them both on the couch while he goes into the other room to prepare baby food. And initially, Cuphead tries to get along with the baby. He tries to play games with the baby of hide and seek, making funny faces at it. You know, all the fun of the fair. But the baby not responds in kind by spraying him with milk from the bottle nipple on its head. So yeah, Cuphead just kind of gets blasted full in the face with milk, and and of course the baby just kind of keeps spraying him despite Cuphead's protest, pointing out that that's not very nice. But it keeps spraying him, and eventually winds up knocking into the bookshelf, and he winds up catching all of the things that fall off of the bookshelf and putting them back, and then proceeds to wonder where the baby went, and discovers that the baby has since crawled into Elder Kettle's storage closet. So he goes in after it, and of course all this stuff falls out because it's a cartoon. But he immediately goes in to try and find the baby, and can't find it. But then he discovers that the baby is actually playing with Elder Kettle's radio, which he points out the baby is very much not supposed to do. So he immediately goes in to try and intervene. And of course he eventually gets the baby away from the radio, but he actually saves the radio. But in the process, he discovers that the baby is about to push their fishbowl off of the top of the piano. So Cuphead immediately goes to try and save it, but he's too late to actually save it. And but he does manage to save the fish by putting it in his head, which of course is a cup. But when Mugman comes out, he gets very upset with Cuphead for breaking the fishbowl and leaving glass everywhere. But Cuphead, after putting the fish in his cup, proceeds to point out that the baby was the one who broke it, and that's a bad baby. But of course, Mugman doesn't believe Cuphead, and swiftly points out that the baby isn't being malicious. He points out that the baby is just being a baby, and proceeds to pick up the baby, and point out that if it has been misbehaving. But the baby then responds by actually spraying Mugman in the face from its nipple, and this causes Mugman to call it a bad baby, which causes it to have a very sour look on its face, and which Cuphead picks up on and points out that he doesn't like the very obvious evil glint in his eye. But Mugman merely points out that they just need to treat it with love and respect again. And with that, he then proceeds to grab his old teddy bear from the shelf that he points out he's had since he was a baby. It is a very sentimental thing that he's had since he was very little, and he knows that the baby will like it because it brought him a lot of joy when he was its age, and now that he's hoping that it will bring the baby some joy as well. And initially, the baby seems like it enjoys it very much, and is happily hugging it and very much coddling it. And Mugman is initially very happy with it, very happy that the baby loves his teddy bear so much. But then the baby very maliciously rips the teddy bear's head off, which causes Mugman to fly off the handle at it. And Cuphead stops him, pointing out that the baby isn't the baby isn't evil, and that Mugman is overreacting. But Mugman is convinced that it's no longer a baby and that it is indeed a monster. But it's at this point where they suddenly notice that the baby is gone, and discover that the front door is open. So they immediately go out to go look for it, pointing out that they have no idea where the first place of where it could have possibly gone. But turns out didn't go anywhere. And the only reason it pretended to go outside so that it could trick Cuphead and Mugman into going outside so it could block them out. And sure enough, it does exactly that, with the two of them arguing about how they're supposed to actually get in, with Cuphead eventually admitting that this baby is a lot more trouble than it's worth, and it also points out that the baby seems to be very malicious at this point. But Mugman points out that the way Cuphead is talking, it's almost as if he doesn't want the baby, which it's kind of turns into a kind of like an odd couple like a married couple arguing kind of sort of, as it's just that kind of dynamic. But of course Cuphead points out that they never did want the baby, since it literally just showed up on their doorstep that morning. And decides to resolve to let Mugman handle all of the parenting chores for the time being. So, which Mugman happily agrees to, and then tries to call the baby through the door to make sure that to try and get it to let them in. But instead, he hears Elder Kettle's radio on the other side of the door, and the two of them immediately bust the door down to discover that the baby is actually playing with Elder Kettle's radio. And sure enough, it then proceeds to actually pick up the radio and throw it. And of course Cuphead and Mugman catch it, but then the baby very maliciously smashes it with a hammer, which of course causes them to realize that they need to figure out what to do with the baby, especially since now it has destroyed Elder Kettle's most prized possession. Of course he's going to be pissed when he comes back. But in any case, that thought is then cut off when the baby starts throwing furniture at them. First starting with the dresser, which winds up hitting them square on, and they emerge from one of the drawers very cartoon style. And then it proceeds to throw a chair at them, which hits exactly where the dresser is. And eventually they climb out, and Cuphead suggests that they call the police, and immediately goes for the phone, but discovers that the baby has actually very maliciously disconnected the wire. At which point, the lights in the house actually wind up going out, and they start hearing the baby giggling very maliciously, and it turns into kind of like a horror sting for a few minutes. With them not really fully understanding what the baby is or what it's doing, but it's eventually at this point where Elder Kettle comes back, and of course he notices all the entire, this in a very comical thing. He notices all the entire laundry list of things that are wrong with the house when he gets back, pointing out that there's just destroyed furniture, fire, and a whole bunch of other things that have just gone wrong since Cuphead and Mugman have started taking care of the baby. And he merely chalks it up to boys being boys. But no, the second he sees his radio broken, that is when he has a problem. And of course, he immediately flies off the handle at the two boys and wonders who was the one who broke the radio. And of course they sell out the baby and throw it under the bus, pointing out that the baby was the one that broke it. And Elder Kettle is initially is very coddling to the baby, believing that it probably didn't mean it. But when the baby then proceeds to rip off his mustache, he then proceeds to scold it the same way Mugman did, calling it a bad baby, which causes it to become very angry, and it starts beating up Elder Kettle, with him weakly asking the boys for help in between getting smacked down by the baby. And eventually they do grab Elder Kettle by the hands and drag him into the kitchen, where the three of them, including Elder Kettle, who has since gotten a band-aid to cover up his lack of a mustache, proceed to get ready to go and do battle with the baby. But when they eventually come out dressed to the nines in kitchen equipment, they discover that the baby has since tuckered itself out and fallen asleep. At which point they get a very brilliant idea to foist it off on their neighbors with the note that says, "Please take care of baby." And the three of them then proceed to shake hands behind the bush. So the implication for this episode is that this baby has caused all the shenanigans that it has caused in this episode to possibly various other households, and they've all just been foisting the baby off onto the next set of victims. With, of course, Cuphead, Mugman, and Elder Kettle being the latest set of victims, and then they force it off onto their neighbor. So yeah, that's basically what the episode is. So there's just the implication that there's just this demon baby that's just been moved from house to house, and presumably nobody has wanted to actually take care of it full time, because obviously it has destroyed every house it has been in. So yeah, no, but I hope that baby eventually finds a good home. But that baby is a mess. If it keeps getting foisted off to other people, of course nobody's ever going to take care of that baby. That baby's a monster, basically. That's what the episode establishes, that nobody wants to take care of that baby because that baby keeps destroying things. But in any case, that is my review of the Cuphead show. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter in the description below. Be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It does really help me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that are my way of saying thanks. So be sure to check those out. Link is down in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter in the description below. Be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well as the end screen. The top video is, yeah, I don't update it very often, but if you guys want to help support me, I will try to update it more. But yeah, for the time being, I don't update it as often because there's not really anybody over there. So yeah, if you want to check out my Patreon, go check that out. Link is down in the description and on the end screen. And finally, if you want to see more content from me, there's actually two ways you can do that. One is by checking out my Twitch. Link is down in the description and on the end screen. And if you guys want to check that out and check out my live streams, just by all means, go check out that link. And finally, if you guys want to see more content from me, then be sure to check out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent one. It may or may not be this one. Whereas the bottom video is a video recommended to you based on what you've already seen from me. So if you want to try something new, or see more of what you like, then be sure to check both of those videos out. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!